I just came to sit. I just came to sit in the lobby because I just keep replaying the conversation from today, um, and of course I got multiple things that I'm working on, but I keep thinking about the conversation that I witnessed today, and I realized like pressure, it doesn't really change people as much as we say it do. I just think that it does if it removes the luxury of pretending. Like when you like right when you're in the face of somebody and they challenging you and they're like, nah, what we gonna do? Or, what's the plan? You don't have no time to pretend. And I think a lot of times what I've done, you know, in my past companies and building things is I would be really good at anticipating what somebody would ask and I would have an answer, right? And that's good, right? Because you always want to have an answer. But I always felt like I was pretending in my responses because that's not what I really wanted to decide. It was more so I was just sitting there, I was just like, all right, yeah, here's the answer. And it just didn't feel like natural. It felt like I was just getting through the conversations and I wasn't like giving all the facts on why I would have made a different decision. Like I would know this is what they want me to say. Let me give them an answer on how I think we can move this through. But I'm not going to give too much pushback because one, you'll say, "Oh yeah, the customer's always right," or "Man, they brought me in here on a project, so I'm gonna just give my 2 cents and move on." But then you start looking like 3 months, 4 months down the road, a hiccup comes. You like, man, if I really would have just told them what it was back then, we probably wouldn't even be in a situation. Or why didn't you say that? And I started looking at today. I started saying like, if you don't have the hard conversation right then, if you don't give all of the facts as to why you're making this decision right then, if you don't have a way to think through the multi layers of that situation and not just pretend like you got the answer right then, in 2 months and 3 months and 4 months, years later, you're gonna see the residue of what you should have said then. Because if you're like me, you're gonna always think like, man, this is a good idea, it's a good option, it's a good decision. But if we do this, then this happens. And if we choose this route, knowing that this is probably going to happen, what's the plan of action for this? Not this, because this doesn't even matter anymore. This was a trigger. This okay? Hey, are we going to go and open up a market in the Northeast? Okay, yes. Once you say yes, all right. What's the plan? Cause when we going? What area? Is it snowing out there now? Are we going to go? Like you guys are thinking like way past the are we going to go open up this market in the Northeast? Are we going to go and launch at this school? Are we going to go and sign this athlete? Those are easy yeses and nos. I don't live in the yes and no space. I live in the yeah, but so that and then therefore like it's always like extra with me. And I did the air quotes because you know how people do they all do me there when they'll say like all right, here come Reg with all the extra thinking. But if I don't do the extra thinking, who will? And for me, it's like, stop running from that. Because this industry, this world, this space, entrepreneurship, business building, it needs people to do the extra, to think more, to not be the one who wants to be liked, right? I I spent so much time trying to like be liked and not ruffle feathers and not push the buttons that I watched things fail, even my own endeavors. Trying to be everybody's friend and not want to be the super arrogant or narcissistic boss that you let your thing crumble when you should have just said, nah, I'm putting my foot down and this is what we're doing because XYZ. And I've took some lumps. I took some bumps and bruises too. And I probably could have helped more people in the past if I would have just follow my first instinct, not my first mind. My first instinct is to give more. Like if you asking me, should I sign to this school? My first instinct is to say, why you want to go to that school? Not yes. It's always like, why? What do you want to major in? What are you interested in? Right? And then you get into this space now where it's rev shares, it's NIL, and it's like, should we give this kid X amount of money? I mean, is it worth it? Will they be here? How many years do they have left? Like it's always a extra question for me, a second order thinking for me because everybody wants to live on the surface where it's just to pay the athlete what they worth. And I'm like, okay, so what are they worth? Where do we get the valuation from? It's always like I'm always thinking, not always why, but why? Because for me, if I'm seeing us about to make a decision that I know is going to turn into something else, let's just go ahead and solve that right now because everybody knows when you solve one problem, you create 10 more. So if we okay with the 10 that come after solving this one, at least we solve the bigger one on the front end so that we can deal with the other ones on the back end. And just watching them have that argument today, debate. I I'll ask you, what has pressure revealed about you that comfort didn't? And I think if you sit with that a long time, a good enough time, you'll realize that a lot of the moments that were pressure, you probably could have solved it. You probably could have got past it. You probably could have made impactful change, but you chose to be comfortable in the I'm gonna just give a surface answer so that I don't ruffle feathers. And that's what we're building now. Like we're understanding that people make decisions in high stakes situations, and they rather be comfortable than to face the pressure. But if you're gonna do anything of substance, it's pressure. It's high stakes. Every day, there is no decision you make in any time of the week where it's just easy. Because every decision you make as an adult, as a business owner, as an athlete that's making money, there's 5 to 10 things coming after that.